Hello and welcome back to Fill Zone. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click the bell so that you'll be updated when future tutorials are uploaded. People often ask where the inspiration for projects come from. The simple answer is just from looking at things in life and then trying to reproduce the movement. But often you can find inspiration in the library in Motion 5. It is such an underused resource and can inspire creativity. I ventured into the library, selected an element, and then made the Megalodon illusion. Let's get straight on and see what I did. So as you can see, I started with just a plain project and I added a background, a color solid, and colored it gray so that I could see the things that I was dragging on top. Close that group up and we'll add a new group. Then I went to the library and finally I went to content and I found in content the ink drop. So if type in ink drop here, you'll see ink drop 2 and I just dragged that into the new group. I couldn't really see it, so I scaled it up a little bit to see what I was dealing with. So we'll scale it up to about 180. And then I'm starting to see, maybe fish. So that's when the ideas started to come to me. And then I knew, okay, what I'm going to do is disable that and then delete that. And what I'm going to do is add a new group. Into that, I'm going to import a video of some sea, which is from a Philippines trip that I took. And then we'll move that group down to the bottom, get rid of that group, we don't need that anymore. And then what we'll do is we'll go and rotate that a little bit, just rotate the ink drop and see what it looks like. And I will reposition it. Yeah, and now this is where I started to get the idea, okay, maybe we can create the illusion of the Megalodon. But it doesn't look like very much like the Megalodon at the moment. Size is about right. But let's see what we need to do in order to make it look a little bit more realistic. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is make the background a bit more realistic. So we're going to go and add a vignette. It looks a bit too clean and crisp. And we'll set the size of the vignette to 0.55, the fall off to 0.45, and we'll darken to 0.7. And that'll give it a much darker feel to the whole video. And then we're also going to go filters, blur, and we're going to add a Gaussian blur. And we're just going to set the amount to 10 to just blur the picture a little bit. And then we'll go to stylize and add bad film. And we will set the number of hairs to 2, the dust to 20, and I set the mix to 75. And that was that done. And then finally I went to stylize and added pixelate. But I didn't want to pixelate it too much, so I just set the scale to 3, just to give it a little pixelation feel, an older feel. And then the video then looked really quite nice to me, and we had a background which we could play with our ink drop. Okay, we can close that group off now, and then we'll look at the ink drop and how we make that work. Okay, so the first thing that I noticed is that although the shape is pretty good, it needs some fins. So we'll grab the Bezier tool and we're just going to draw some fins on. So we'll just draw a fin shape on the left hand side and just a number of points. That's all that's required. I think I've got that wrong. Yeah, it's more like that shape, so we'll stretch it out a little bit and just stretch that up a little bit. That's probably all right. And then we will go to fill color, we'll grab the dropper, and then we will select the color off the main ink drop. And I'm going to duplicate that because we need one on the other side. And we'll go to properties now, and we'll see that the duplicate is there, and we'll just move that over to the other side and kind of position it where it needs to be. Rotate it, but you can see there's a problem. It needs to be flipped over. So let's go to filters, distortion, and we'll select flop. And now what we want to do is line it up to the body of the fish. So we'll position it. Let's rotate it so that we've got it right, and then we will position it so that it matches up with the body that we've already created with the ink drop. And there you go, we've created the fins on the other side. Now what we need to do next, let's just get back to fit the screen. What we need to do next is group all those three elements together, the two beziers and the ink drop, right click and group, so that now we have a group to play with when we animate it. Okay, so first of all, let's go to filters, and we're going to add another Gaussian blur, and we'll set that to 10 as well. And then what we will do, we'll go to filters, color, and we'll colorize, because I don't want that white spot on the fish's back, so we're going to colorize. We'll set that to black, and now we've got a completely black fish in the water, but it's too opaque, so we're going to reduce the opacity down to about 35, and now we've created that little shadow which appears to be under the surface of the water. We'll now go to distortion ripple, and I'll set the center to 130 on X and 6 on Y. We'll set the amplitude of the ripple to 12, and we'll set the mix to 70%. And now what we've created is, it looks like it's moving under the surface of the water, which is kind of a neat little effect. Okay, so it's just by playing around with a shape that we managed to get to this point. All we need to do now is move it across the screen. So what we'll do is we will go to the group and we'll keyframe on position on the first frame. And then we'll drag it down to where we want it to start. And then we'll go to the end of the project and we will just drag it to the other side of the screen where we want it to finish. And that will automatically refresh the keyframe. So we'll drag it up maybe to somewhere about there. That'll do. And then that's all there is to it. What you've created is this little illusion of the Megalodon swimming below the surface of the water. A strange creature seen in the sea off the coast of the Philippines. So often if you just go and play around in the library, inspiration will come. There are a lot of elements in the library, and it is truly an unexplored resource, and it's very useful for people who are just starting out. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a big thumbs up. And don't forget, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you'll be updated when future videos are uploaded. And all that remains for me to say at the moment now is see you in the next video.